Chapter 1. Graduating from university. Kate Hewitt will soon be graduating from university with a BA Honours degree in Management Studies. She is in her flat, having dinner with her two flatmates who are also in their final year. Paula is reading Modern Languages and Dan, who is Chinese, is reading Computer Studies.
So, how are things going, you two?
Well, it depends what things you're talking about, doesn't it?
Work, of course. We all know that things are going very well between you and Jack.
Well, they were until last weekend.
Oh dear. More problems, eh?
Well, if you cooked him chili con carne as hot as this, I'm not surprised your love life has run into problems.
At least it's not as insipid as your Chinese rosé wine.
I'm sorry, Paula. I was only joking. I think your chili con carne is great. Sorry. Kate, you asked about work.
Yeah. When I think that in about 2 months we'll be taking our finals, the mind boggles. I've been so busy applying for jobs and attending interviews that I haven't even started revising yet. What about you, Dan?
Well, I really have to get a first if I want to do my master's in the US. I haven't started revising yet either, but I feel confident about the finals. What about you, Paula?
You never cease to amaze me, you two. I haven't thought about the exams yet. To tell you the truth, I don't even know what I'll do when I graduate. There's not much you can do with a degree in modern languages.
But when Jack qualifies as a GP, you won't need to work. He'll be raking it in.
Oh, hello, Jack.
While we're waiting for Paula to return, let's clear away the dishes and bring in the dessert. Oh, come on, Dan. We might as well start eating. Knowing Paula, she'll probably be on the phone for hours.
This chocolate mousse is absolutely delicious, as always.
Thank you.
By the way, Kate, what sort of job are you looking for?
Probably something in human resource management, in a big company.
What sort of company?
The food industry. Definitely. To be quite honest, and I know you'll laugh, my number one choice is United Chocolate.
Comprehension. Where does this dialogue take place?
This dialogue takes place in Kate's flat.
Are Paula and Dan also reading Management Studies?
No, Paula is reading Modern Languages and Dan, Computer Studies.
Are things going well between Paula and Jack?
Probably not, because Paula says, they were until last weekend.
Does Dan really like Paula's chili con carne?
Yes, Dan was only joking. She thinks Paula's chili con carne is great.
Until now, what has prevented Kate from starting to revise for her finals?
Kate hasn't started to revise for her finals yet because until now, she's been busy applying for jobs and attending interviews.
What does Dan want to do when she graduates?
When Dan graduates from her current university, she wants to do a master's in the US.
According to Dan, why does Paula not need to be too worried about what she will do when she graduates?
Dan says that when Jack, Paula's boyfriend, qualifies as a GP, she won't need to work because he'll be raking it in.
Why don't Kate and Dan wait for Paula to come back before starting their dessert?
Because Paula is speaking to Jack on her mobile, and Kate thinks that she'll probably be on the phone for hours.
Describe the sort of job Kate is looking for.
Kate is looking for a job probably in human resource management in a big company in the food industry, specifically United Chocolate. Chapter 2. Being interviewed. Kate Hewitt has finally obtained what she wanted, an interview with her #1 choice, United Chocolate. The company replied to her application and invited her to the British headquarters in Bristol. After nearly an hour, the interview with David Robinson, in charge of graduate recruitment, is coming to an end.
Well, I think we've covered nearly everything. Do you have any questions you'd like to ask me?
Yes, I do. If you were to offer me a job with United Chocolate, what sort of career prospects would I have? After the trial period, that is.
I've already explained to you our junior manager scheme, which is designed for graduates at bachelor's level. We hire quite a few of them every year. We're always on the lookout for young talent at master's levels too, of course.
Do you mean that it's better to do an MBA, for example?
No, I didn't say that. It's a question of personal choice. Obviously, if we hire someone with an MBA from a top business school, that person will earn more money, but also have a lot more responsibility.
That's only logical.
Quite right. An MBA has studied longer, acquired more skills, usually has some experience.
But is it possible, after 2 or 3 years, for a BA in business studies to catch up, so to speak, with an MBA, have an equally successful career?
Oh, absolutely. Should you come and work with us as a junior manager, you will have a training period of 6 months. During that time, you'll get to know UC, its activities, its products.
I think I know your products quite well already.
You'd be surprised, Kate. People don't realise just how many different brands we have around the world. You will also see what the various functions of management involve. Then, after 6 months, if we're still satisfied with you, we'll let you choose the area you want to work in. From what you've said, I imagine that might be human resource management.
Probably. Is it possible to return to university to do a part-time MBA, for example?
It certainly does happen, and generally speaking, we encourage it. United Chocolate may even help to pay the tuition fees. Only for our high flyers, though. Any other questions?
No, I don't think so. I know what I have to be now.
Well, I think we've said enough. I have to see another candidate. It's been very nice speaking to you, Kate. I hope to be able to give you an answer by the end of the month. I'll email you and follow that up with a formal letter.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Comprehension. Where does this interview take place?
This interview takes place at United Chocolate's British headquarters in Bristol.
Has the interview only just begun?
No, it's coming to an end. They've covered nearly everything.
When David Robinson asks Kate whether she has any questions to ask him, what does she inquire about?
Kate inquires about the career prospects she'd have after what she calls the trial period.
Does United Chocolate hire graduates only at bachelor's level?
No. David Robinson says that they're always on the lookout for young talent at master's level too.
In terms of career prospects within United Chocolate, is it possible for someone with a BA to catch up with someone who has an MBA?
Absolutely, according to David Robinson.
What would Kate do during her 6-month training period with UC?
She would get to know UC, its activities and its products.
Is Kate absolutely certain that she wants to work in human resource management?
She is not absolutely certain, because when David Robinson suggests that she might work in human resource management, she only says probably.
What do you think Kate means when she says, "I know what I have to be now"?
She no doubt means that she will have to be a high flyer.
What is David Robinson going to do just after this interview with Kate?
David Robinson is going to interview another candidate.
Chapter 3. Getting the job. Following her interview with United Chocolate, Kate has at last received a positive answer. She's naturally delighted and phones her parents to tell them the good news.
Hello?
Hi, Mum, it's Kate.
Hello, love. What a nice surprise. How are you?
Fine, Mum, fine. I've been offered the job.
Fantastic, Kate. But which one? You've been applying for so many.
United Chocolate, of course, down in Bristol, as a junior manager.
Congratulations, Kate. Have you accepted yet?
Not yet. I have until the end of the month, in fact. But I'm not going to wait that long. I'm going to write the email this evening.
Email?
Yes. If I accept the offer, they'll send the official letter of appointment with a contract.
OK, I get it. But you don't want to wait and see whether you get other offers first?
Certainly not. United Chocolate is the one I've wanted from the very beginning.
Well, your little brother will be very excited. When I told him you might work for United Chocolate, he started going on about all the free chocolate you'd be able to get him.
Bless him. Is he there?
No, he's still at school, practicing with the cricket team for next Saturday's match.
And Dad?
He left this morning for San Diego, one of his medical conferences.
San Diego? Why do they always organise these conferences in such exotic places?
I often wonder myself, but I suppose that Blackpool or Southend-on-Sea don't quite have the same ring to them.
God, I wish I could go to San Diego or somewhere like that.
But you will do, Kate, now that you're a top executive in a major multinational.
I said junior manager, Mum, not top executive.
Yes, but it's only a matter of time, isn't it? Don't forget to ring your dad.
I can't afford to phone him on my mobile. It would cost a fortune. And anyway, the time difference with California must be at least 8 hours.
We'll send him an email then. He'll be delighted to hear the news.
Will do. I must fly now. I've got loads to do. I'll see you soon on Ben's birthday.
Great, and we'll have a bottle of champagne to celebrate your appointment. Bye.
Bye, Mum. Bye.
Comprehension. Why does Kate phone her parents?
Kate phones her parents to tell them she's been offered a job with United Chocolate.
Was Mrs. Hewitt expecting her daughter to call?
No, she wasn't. She says it's a nice surprise.
How long does Kate have to accept the post she has been offered?
She has until the end of the month to accept the post.
Is she going to wait that long?
No, she isn't, because she says, I'm going to write the email this evening.
Why will Kate's little brother be excited about her working for United Chocolate?
Because he thinks she'll be able to get him a lot of free chocolate.
What is he doing when she phones?
He's still at school, practicing with the cricket team for next Saturday's match.
Why has Kate's father gone to San Diego?
Kate's father has gone to San Diego to attend a medical conference.
Why is Kate unlikely to phone him to tell him the news?
She's unlikely to phone him because it would cost a fortune on her mobile, and anyway, there's a big time difference with California.
How does Mrs. Hewitt say they will celebrate Kate's new appointment?
She says they'll celebrate with a bottle of champagne.
Chapter 4. Starting work. It is July the 4th, Kate's first day with United Chocolate. She is at the company's headquarters in Bristol for the 2-week induction course with the other junior managers hired this year by UC. She's having a coffee with her new colleagues after a morning and lunch spent with Alexander Spencer Jones, Director of Human Resources.
Your name's Kate, isn't it?
Yes, that's right. I studied management at Waringham University, but I'm from Cambridge.
I'm Molly. I only did modern languages in Ireland.
I thought I recognised that accent. But why do you say only modern languages?
Everybody else seems to have studied business administration, management, marketing, apart from Arvind, who did computer science.
Yes, but you heard Mr. Spencer Jones this morning. He said that we should forget what we studied before, that we'd been selected because of our perceived potential, and that UC was capable of training us. So perhaps you have more perceived potential than the rest of us.
Perceived is the word, Kate. I was surprised that Mr. Spencer Jones welcomed us personally and spent so much time with us. He must be a very busy man.
Why should you be surprised? That's his job after all. That's what he gets paid for, and very handsomely too, I should imagine.
Okay, but he must have so much to do.
He's going to be with us this afternoon as well to talk about how the company is organised in the UK, in the USA, throughout the world, in fact.
I'm looking forward to that. I must admit, I don't really understand the difference between all the types of company that exist. You know what I mean, PLC, limited, Inc., holding companies, subsidiaries. The UC Group is some organisation.
You mean you didn't study all of that on the internet before you came here for the interview?
We all did that, but I'm sure most of us have forgotten.
Well, actually,
I'm looking forward to the session with the marketing director. We should find out about all the products and brands. And then the production director with the visit to a production plant.
Perhaps we'll even get to taste some chocolate.
the only thing that interests me this week is the session with the Chief Financial Officer. Now that should be interesting. Anyway, I'm going to try and find somewhere to have a cigarette. They don't even have a smoking zone in their cafeteria.
I wonder what they've got planned for the weekend. David Robinson said something about extreme sports. I hope we're not going bungee jumping off the Clifton Suspension Bridge.
Oh, it's all about bonding and team building, no doubt.
Well, I'm sure nobody's going to do too much of that with Harry.
Comprehension. At what time, approximately, does this dialogue take place?
This dialogue takes place after lunch, so probably between 1 p.m. and 2 p.m.
Who is Molly?
Molly is one of the junior managers hired by United Chocolate this year. She is therefore one of Kate's new colleagues.
Did Molly study management at Waringham University with Kate?
No, she didn't. She studied modern languages in Ireland.
Why does Kate suggest that Molly may have more perceived potential than the others in the group?
Molly seems to have a complex about being the only junior manager who didn't do business-related studies, and so to help reassure her, Kate reminds her that Mr. Spencer Jones said that they were all hired because of their perceived potential.
Why does Molly tell Kate that she's surprised?
She's surprised that Mr. Spencer Jones welcomed them personally and spent so much time with them.
Does Harry agree with Molly about Mr. Spencer Jones?
No, he doesn't. He says that it's his job, that it's what he's paid for.
Who is going to speak to the junior managers this afternoon?
Mr. Spencer Jones is going to speak to them again about how the company is organised.
Didn't Molly prepare her interview with UC on the internet?
We can assume that she did, but she has forgotten.
What is Kate looking forward to most of all?
She's looking forward to the session with the marketing director and the production director.
Chapter 5. Getting to know the company. Peter Sanders, the marketing director of United Chocolate plc, is speaking to the group of junior managers during their induction course at the company's headquarters.
I know that Alexander Spencer-Jones spoke to you yesterday afternoon about the organisation of United Chocolate, and I don't want to go back over what has already been said. I assume he gave you a copy of the organisation chart of the UC group.
He said we could find it on the company's intranet.
Good. So don't forget to consult it. Make absolutely sure you understand it. Now, that's one way of looking at a multinational like ours. United Chocolate Inc., the American parent company. United Chocolate UK and its subsidiaries, here and elsewhere in Europe. Our operations in Africa, Asia, Latin America. Now, what would be another way of looking at our group?
By its product, of course.
Yes and no. Try again.
I'd say brands.
Well done, Kate. In our activity, chocolate, confectionery, call it what you will, the name of the game is brands. When a consumer buys one of our products, he or, very often, she, is not buying a chocolate bar made by United Chocolate. What interests the consumer is the brand.
Just how many brands does UC own?
Quite a lot, believe me. In Europe alone, we have nearly 50, more than 100 throughout the world, and that doesn't include all the distributor brands we manufacture.
Are there really as many as that? I mean, we can all name about 10 or maybe more, but 100?
But don't forget that brand names often change from one market to another. What sounds fine in English on our two major markets, the US and the UK, may not work at all in French or Spanish, for example. Yes, Kate.
I believe that UC has taken over several smaller chocolate firms in England over the last decade or so. Does that mean that those subsidiaries were bought because they had brands which interested UC?
Absolutely. And more generally, our group is always on the lookout for opportunities throughout the world. Our competitors too, of course.
Does it happen sometimes that you buy a small company?
We, Harry, we. Don't forget, you work for UC now.
Does it happen that we buy a small company just because of a brand, keep it for a year or two and then close it down?
I'm afraid I can't answer that one. You're going to have to ask Lord Werrett, our chairman. Anyway, let's move on.
Comprehension. Why is Peter Sanders reluctant to talk about the organisation of United Chocolate?
Peter Sanders is reluctant to talk about the organisation of United Chocolate because Alexander Spencer-Jones spoke about it yesterday.
What advice does Peter Sanders give the junior managers concerning the organisation chart?
He tells them that they should consult it and make absolutely sure they understand it.
Is United Chocolate a totally British company?
No, it isn't. The parent company is American, and there are subsidiaries in the UK and elsewhere in Europe. There are also operations in Africa, Asia, and Latin America.
Why is this organisation chart not necessarily the best way of looking at a multinational like United Chocolate?
It's not necessarily the best way of looking at United Chocolate, because it's a geographical approach, and in UC's activity, the name of the game is brands.
How does Peter Sanders explain the apparently large number of brands owned by UC?
Peter Sanders explains that the name of a product can change from one market to another because of the language.
How may several takeovers carried out by United Chocolate over the last decade be explained?
Several companies were taken over because United Chocolate was interested in their brands.
Why does Peter Sanders insist on Harry using the pronoun we rather than you when he refers to UC?
Because, as a junior manager, Harry is now an employee of United Chocolate.
What does Harry imply in his remark about the recent takeovers?
Harry implies that once United Chocolate has obtained the brands it wants, it is not worried about keeping the company.
Who, according to Peter Sanders, might be able to answer Harry's question?
Peter Sanders suggests that Harry should ask Lord Werrett, UC's chairman.
Chapter 6. Details about the training period. The 2-week induction course is coming to an end. David Robinson, in charge of graduate recruitment for United Chocolate, has been meeting the junior managers individually, one by one, to discuss the plans which have been made for the 6-month training period which awaits them. It is Kate's turn.
So, Kate, how have you enjoyed the course?
Fantastic, really fantastic. Everyone has been so friendly, always ready to help us.
And what about your colleagues, the other junior managers?
Well, actually, I've built up very strong relationships with most of them. I'd go as far as to talk about friendship in 1 or 2 cases.
Well, good. That's one of the reasons why we run these induction courses. Now, Kate, you know why I wanted to meet you all individually today?
To talk about our training period, I assume?
Absolutely. Now, you're from Cambridge, aren't you?
I didn't go to Cambridge University. It's where I grew up and went to school.
Yes, I know that, Kate. I have no problem with wearing them, you know. On the contrary, they regularly produce excellent graduates in business and management. As they say on their website, your BA Hons in Management Studies is their flagship undergraduate degree. I suggested to Alexander Spencer-Jones that we should send you to one of our subsidiaries, which is not too far from Cambridge, and he agreed.
Norfolk Chocolate in Norwich?
Oh, so you know the firm already?
My little brother is crazy about Norfolk nuggets. I'm quite keen on them myself, too.
And you know we don't make the nuggets in Norwich anymore.
No. Where are they made then?
France, as a matter of fact. In Dijon. All to do with supply chain management, I suppose. I'm not even sure what we make in Norwich at the moment, but you'll soon find out.
When do I start?
Next Wednesday. We're going to give you 2 days off to make up for the very tiring weekend we subjected you to.
Tiring maybe, but it was great fun.
So I hear. We've reserved a hotel for you in Norwich to get you started, but the personnel manager of Norfolk Chocolate promises he'll get a flat or a room organised for you very quickly.
Do I need to contact him before I arrive?
Best to phone him as soon as you can. You'll find his number in here, as well as the details of the hotel.
Thank you. I'm really looking forward to it. You mentioned the personnel manager. Does that mean I'll be working in human resources?
No, not exclusively. I've already told you that you'll get a taste of all the various functions of management.
Okay.
By the way, Kate, Peter Sanders told me that he thought you had great potential to work in marketing.
Comprehension. Has the induction course only just started?
No, we are told in the introduction to the chapter that it is coming to an end.
Why is David Robinson meeting the junior managers individually, one by one?
He is meeting them in order to discuss the plans for the training period.
Who is Kate probably talking about when she says everyone has been friendly and helpful?
Kate probably uses these words to describe all the managers and other people who have taken care of the junior managers in Bristol.
Why does David Robinson say that he has no problem with wearing them?
He wants to reassure Kate that he thinks highly of Wareham University, because she has just reminded him that she didn't go to Cambridge University.
Why do you think Kate seems to know the firm Norfolk Chocolate already?
Kate probably already knows the firm Norfolk Chocolate because her little brother is crazy about their Norfolk nuggets, and she also likes them.
What does United Chocolate currently manufacture in its subsidiary in Norwich?
We are not told. David Robinson says that he is not sure what they manufacture there at the moment.
Why will Kate not have to start in Norwich until next Wednesday?
Because United Chocolate has decided to give them 2 days off to make up for the tiring weekend they were subjected to.
Will Kate have to stay in a hotel throughout her training period?
No, the personnel manager has promised to find her a flat or a room very quickly.
What is in the folder that David Robinson hands to Kate?
He hands her a folder containing, among other things, the phone number of the personnel manager and details of her hotel in Norwich.
Chapter 7. Getting to know the company. It's Friday, the last day of the induction course. While Kate is drinking a cup of coffee in the company cafeteria, she studies the United Chocolate plc organisation chart. She is joined by Molly, who has just finished her meeting with David Robinson.
It's Burt Whistles of Ilkley, a subsidiary like you. Why do you think they're sending us to subsidiaries when nearly everyone else seems to have got a place at headquarters?
Well, actually, David Robinson told me that they always send the best junior managers to Burt Whistles and Norfolk Chocolate. He said they get a much more interesting experience there, very varied, very hands-on, and you have to be good to be chosen.
You sure he wasn't joking?
No, seriously, I don't think he was.
What are you looking at?
The organisation chart. Just trying to remember some of the names.
Who's in charge at Ilkley then?
Well, the plant manager's name is John Crowther. He reports to United Chocolate's production director, Albert Batty. He's the one who gave us a talk last week and took us round the factory in Filton.
There's no Burt Whistle then in charge at Burt Whistles.
There was Freddie Birtwistle, who still owns a good percentage of the shares. He's a director of United Chocolate, of course.
Freddie Birtwistle. Doesn't sound quite as posh as Lord Werrett.
Lord Werrett of Thornbury, to use his full title. He's only a life peer, you know, but he is a descendant of the family who started the company in the 18th century. They were Quakers, actually. But he's done loads for the community in Bristol and Thornbury, of course.
Really, Kate, I don't know where you get all this stuff from. Hey, can you remind me why these two people, Alexander Spencer Jones and June Isabel, are presented differently in the organisation chart, if you see what I mean?
It's because the positions they occupy are functional, or staff, as opposed to operational, or line. That means...
Where is Ilkley, by the way, Kate?
In Yorkshire, not too far from Leeds.
And is there anything to do there?
Perhaps not in Ilkley, but Leeds is a great place.
You know Leeds? You're amazing, Kate. You know everything.
Oh, I had a boyfriend from Leeds when I was at university.
And do you have a boyfriend now?
Nothing regular, if you know what I mean.
Oh yes, I know what you mean.
Norwich is not that far from Leeds, really. Maybe we could get together sometimes at weekends, have a little fun. What do you say?
Great. You have my mobile number, don't you? Let me give you the number of the hotel I'll be staying in at the beginning.
I'll give you mine too. By the way, do you know where Harry will be doing his training?
No, I don't. But they say he'll be off work for a few weeks. Apparently there's nothing broken, but all the same.
Comprehension. What is Kate doing while she studies the United Chocolate plc organisation chart?
While Kate studies the United Chocolate plc organisation chart, she is drinking a cup of coffee.
Has Molly got a place at headquarters for the training period?
No, she hasn't. Molly is being sent to Burt Whistles of Yorkshire for her training period.
According to David Robinson, why does United Chocolate always send the best junior managers to Birtwhistle's and Norfolk Chocolate?
David Robinson told Kate that they send their best junior managers to these subsidiaries because they get a much more interesting experience there, very varied and very hands-on.
Why is Kate looking at the United Chocolate plc organisation chart?
Kate is looking at the United Chocolate plc organisation chart in order to try and remember some of the names.
Why should Molly already be familiar with Albert Batty?
Molly should remember Albert Batty from the previous week, because he gave the junior managers a talk and showed them round the plant at Filton.
Why is Freddie Birtwistle a member of the Board of Directors of United Chocolate plc?
We can assume that he is a member of the Board of Directors of United Chocolate plc, because he owns a good percentage of the shares of Birtwistle.
Why may Lord Werrett of Thornbury be considered as an important figure within United Chocolate plc?
Lord Werrett of Thornbury may be considered as an important figure within the company because apart from being a life peer, he is a descendant of the family who started the company in the 18th century, and he has also done a lot for the community in Bristol, where the headquarters are located.
Why is Kate already familiar with Leeds?
Kate knows Leeds already because she had a boyfriend from this city when she was at university.
Does Kate have a boyfriend at the moment?
No, she doesn't, or at least not a regular boyfriend.
Chapter 8. Starting training. Kate has arrived in Norwich to start her 6-month training period with Norfolk Chocolate, a subsidiary of United Chocolate plc. She met first with Bill Hayward, the plant manager, and is now about to see Christopher Vincent, the personnel manager. He comes to shake her hand as she enters his office.
Welcome to Norfolk Chocolate, Kate.
Thank you, Mr. Vincent.
Please call me Chris, Kate. Everybody else does.
OK, I will do.
So, how's your hotel?
Really superb. Having been a student until very recently, I'm not used to such luxury.
Well, I wouldn't call the Queen's luxurious, but we use it a lot for our guests, and they seem to make a special effort for Norfolk Chocolate. Anyway, I found you a room with a colleague, and she's happy for you to move in on Saturday, if that's all right. I'll introduce you to her later on.
Thanks very much for your help, Chris. I'm very grateful.
So you've already spent some time with Bill Hayward? I doubt if there's much left for me to tell you.
I don't know, but I thought he spoke more like a CEO than just a plant manager.
Oh, absolutely. And to all intents and purposes, that's what he is. He's an engineer, originally, spent most of his career in production. But now his job is more related to general management.
Anyway, I think he told me everything I wanted to know. I was surprised that Norfolk Chocolate is a wholly owned subsidiary. That's not the case with Birtwhistle's, is it?
No, it's not. But you have to remember, Kate, that Freddie Birtwistle decided to hold on to at least 30% of the stock.
Which is why he's a director of UC.
Quite right. But Walter Adams, who founded Norfolk Chocolate and created the famous Norfolk Nuggets, had no children. He was happy to sell the company at a good price. He's 84 now, but he still drops in quite often to say hello to everyone. He's in very good health for his age.
It must be the nuggets.
Which are now made in Dijon.
Yes, but why has UC kept a separate identity for Norfolk Chocolate as a subsidiary? Why not treat it as just another United Chocolate production unit, which of course it is?
Your remarks are very shrewd, Kate. But the answer to your question is Norfolk Nuggets. It's a household name. What you suggest may well happen one day. I'm sure it will, in fact.
And what about the production workers? What do they think about not making nuggets anymore? How would they feel if the name Norfolk Chocolate just disappeared, so to speak?
You're going to have the opportunity to ask them those questions for yourself, Kate, starting next week.
Next week?
That's right. We're going to put you to work on the production line for a fortnight.
Comprehension. Is Christopher Vincent the first person that Kate meets with at Norfolk Chocolate?
No, he is not. The introduction to the dialogue tells us that she met first with Bill Haywood, the plant manager.
What reason does Chris give for asking Kate to call him Chris?
Chris says that everybody else calls him Chris.
What is Kate's opinion of the hotel where she's staying?
According to Kate, the Queen's Hotel is really superb. She even uses the word luxury when talking about it.
Do you think that Chris agrees with her?
Probably not. He says he wouldn't call it luxurious, even though Norfolk Chocolate uses it a lot for its guests.
How much longer will Kate probably have to stay in a hotel?
Kate will probably have to stay in a hotel till Saturday, 3 more nights.
What does Kate have to say about Bill Haywood, the plant manager at Norfolk Chocolate?
She says that he speaks more like a CEO than a plant manager.
According to Chris, what reason might explain the fact that, unlike Birtwistle's, Norfolk Chocolate is now a wholly owned subsidiary?
According to Chris, Walter Adams, the founder of Norfolk Chocolate, had no children and was happy to sell the company to United Chocolate for a good price.
Why did United Chocolate decide to keep Norfolk Chocolate as a subsidiary with its own identity?
Chris suggests that United Chocolate decided to do this because of Norfolk Nuggets. He says that this product is a household name.
What is likely to happen to Norfolk Chocolate one day?
One day, no doubt, the name Norfolk Chocolate will disappear, and the factory in Norwich will be just another United Chocolate production unit.
Chapter 9. Getting some hands-on experience. It's Kate's first day of work on the production line at the Norfolk Chocolate plant in Norwich. During the morning break, she is drinking a cup of coffee when one of her older colleagues comes and sits down next to her.
Mind if I join you, love?
No, not at all. Go ahead.
I really needed a cup of tea. The name's Joan, by the way. What about you?
My name's Kate. Kate Hewitt.
You're new here, aren't you?
That's right. I only started this morning, in fact.
So how are you enjoying it?
Well, I must admit I was a little taken aback by the smell of chocolate. I find it a bit overpowering.
It does take a little getting used to, but there are worse smells, you know.
I suppose there are. Maybe it will put me off chocolate and I can lose some weight.
Oh, you look fine as you are to me. I'll tell you what, though, Kate. You don't sound to me like your average factory girl. And at this time of year, you wouldn't be a student on vacation.
Actually, Joan, I'm a junior manager for United Chocolate, doing 6 months training in Norwich. Christopher Vincent thought I should start on the shop floor.
Get a little hands-on experience, eh?
That expression was used, yes.
Well, good luck to you, love.
Thanks. Have you always worked for Norfolk Chocolate, Joan?
Yes, I have, as a matter of fact. Best part of 40 years, can you imagine?
You must enjoy working here if you've stayed that long.
Well, it's not easy to change jobs when you don't even have any A-levels. But all in all, I've enjoyed it. It's a nice place to work. I preferred it when we made the nuggets, though. I used to take a bag home for the kids every week.
My little brother would love that. So, I suppose you'll be here till you retire now?
No doubt I will, provided they don't close the factory down before then.
Why do you say that?
Oh, come on, Kate. You're a junior manager, you said. You should know how managers function these days. Keeping the shareholders satisfied, that's all they think about.
Are people afraid that the activity in Norwich might be relocated?
Of course they are. First, Walter Adams sells the company to United Chocolate, and then after a couple of years, we stop making Norfolk nuggets.
But that was only for reasons of logistics.
They've kept the name Norfolk Chocolate, but for how long? This place is just another UC production plant. One day, the name will go. This place will be closed down. They'll open a new factory in Asia or Central Europe, and everyone would be on the dole.
Yes, it's time to get back to work. Look, Joan, I've really enjoyed talking with you. We must continue our conversation one day.
OK, love. No problem. Whenever you like.
Comprehension. What surprises Kate when she starts working on the production line?
Kate says that she is surprised, taken aback, by the smell of chocolate which she finds a little overpowering.
How might this rather unpleasant aspect which Kate mentions prove to be positive for her?
She says that the smell might put her off chocolate and she could lose some weight.
Why does Joan feel that Kate is unlikely to be a student?
She feels that it's not the right time of the year for a student to be on vacation.
Why, according to Joan, did Christopher Vincent think that Kate should start on the shop floor?
She thinks that it was so she could get a little hands-on experience.
How long has Joan worked for Norfolk Chocolate?
Joan has always worked for Norfolk Chocolate, which she says means nearly 40 years.
Do you think Joan has enjoyed working in the factory?
Even if it was difficult for her to change jobs, she says that, all in all, she has enjoyed it and that it's a nice place to work.
According to Joan, what is the only thing that managers think about these days?
She says that keeping the shareholders satisfied is all that managers think about these days.
According to Joan, what are her fellow production workers afraid of?
She says they're afraid that the activity in Norwich might be relocated.
Do you think that Joan will accept to speak to Kate again?
She certainly will, because when Kate suggests this, she replies, "No problem, whenever you like."
Chapter 10. Facing a strike. Kate and her current boss at Norfolk Chocolate, Christopher Vincent, the personnel manager, are travelling to France on the Eurostar to attend a meeting hosted by UC France SA in Dijon. They are discussing Kate's hands-on experience on the shop floor.
Well, Kate, did you find any answers to the questions you were asking when you first arrived in Norwich?
What questions were those?
You know, what the workers think about not making nuggets anymore. How they'd feel if the name Norfolk Chocolate disappeared altogether.
Well, in fact, several of them expressed their concern about losing their jobs if one day the factory is relocated. Eastern Europe and Asia seem to be the places which were quoted most often.
Oh, I don't think they need to worry about that. There's not much to be gained by relocating the manufacturing of products like chocolate. It tends to be rather fragile and bulky to transport. It usually makes more sense to produce it close to its market.
OK, but what about labour costs?
Labour's not a big element in the cost price. And anyway, chocolate bars are not particularly price-sensitive products. They often tend to be impulse buys.
Which means that if you increase the price, nobody minds. You're sounding more like a marketing manager.
When you're a manager, Kate, you have to know about all the aspects of your company.
Yes, I know, I was just teasing. But isn't it possible that the factory may just close down without any relocation in order to rationalise production within the UK?
And concentrate production on a smaller number of plants, you mean? Yes, that's possible. Very possible, I would say.
So the workers are right to be worried, because they'll lose their jobs anyway. Are there ever any strikes at Norfolk Chocolate, Chris?
I've certainly never seen one, Kate. From what I gather, the last strike was in the late 70s, before the Thatcher years.
Several workers told me that they wouldn't hesitate to go on strike if their factory was threatened with relocation or closure.
Well, that's good, isn't it? It proves their loyalty to the firm, to the brand, to their factory. Strictly speaking, the plant is not theirs, of course. By the way, talking of strikes, or industrial disputes, as we tend to call them, I suppose you know that the French public transport workers have gone on strike again?
Yes, I heard that on the radio this morning, but they said that the TGV would not be affected.
Probably not. But we still have to get across Paris, from Gare du Nord to Gare de Lyon. The RER and the metro will be disrupted too.
But we'll be getting a taxi, won't we?
Yes, along with the thousands of other people who normally take the RER or the metro. We'll be lucky if we can find a taxi.
Well, we can always walk.
Comprehension. Why are Kate and Christopher travelling to France?
They are going to Dijon to attend an important meeting hosted by UC France SA.
Did Kate find any answers to the questions she was asking during her spell on the shop floor?
Yes, she probably did, because she says that several workers expressed their concern about losing their jobs if one day the factory is relocated.
Where do several workers fear that their factory will be relocated?
They fear that their factory will be relocated to Eastern Europe or Asia.
What reasons does Christopher give to justify his remark that the Norfolk chocolate workers should not be concerned about relocation?
He says that there's not much to be gained by relocating the manufacturing of products like chocolate because it tends to be rather fragile and bulky to transport. It therefore makes more sense to produce it close to its market.
Explain what Christopher means when he says that chocolate bars are not particularly price-sensitive products.
He means that the consumer does not pay too much attention to changes in their price.
Do you think we can infer, from what is said in this dialogue, that United Chocolate intends to close its plant in Norwich one day?
Yes, I think we probably can. Christopher says, yes, that's possible. Very possible, I would say.
Are there currently many strikes at the Norfolk chocolate factory?
No, there aren't. The last one dates back to the late 70s.
Does Kate already know that the French public transport workers are on strike?
Yes, she does. She says she heard it on the radio this morning.
According to Christopher, why may it be difficult to get a taxi to cross Paris?
He says that thousands of other people who normally take the RER or the metro will also be trying to get one.
Chapter 11. Career Development. Kate and Christopher are waiting in the Eurostar lounge at Gare du Nord in Paris, on their way back from Dijon. Christopher has just returned from the shop carrying a large bag which apparently contains 2 or 3 bottles of wine.
So, what did you buy, Chris?
Oh, just a couple of bottles of champagne.
Not very typical of Burgundy, is it?
Maybe not, but a lot cheaper than you'll find it in Tesco's or Sainsbury's. And what did you buy, Kate?
I just bought a selection of Dijon mustard.
Dijon mustard? You'll be shot in Norwich if they see you with that. What did you think of the meeting, by the way, Kate?
I was very impressed. It's amazing how well everybody speaks English. The executives, their assistants, even some of the workers when we toured the factory.
Well, they have to, don't they, if they manufacture Norfolk nuggets? No, seriously. UC France, like many French companies, spends a lot of money on professional training, and one of their priorities is teaching their employees to speak English. Remember, English is the official working language of United Chocolate.
I wonder what the people in Norwich would say if they had to learn French.
I wonder. Mind you, Some of our workers could probably benefit from some English classes too.
You know, Chris, at times you can be very cynical.
Don't forget, Kate, that you're speaking to your boss. So, apart from the quality of the English, what did you think of the meeting?
I was impressed by the importance they attach to career development, the way they constantly seek to assess employees' skills and find appropriate professional training solutions adapted to their needs.
Yes, they certainly spend a lot of money and seem to do a good job. French companies even have to pay a tax, a certain percentage of their payroll, to finance vocational training at school or university level. Or they can choose to give money directly to certain institutions.
The famous taxe d'apprentissage. Someone said they even give money to the local school of management, which is supposed to be very good.
We sometimes take their students on placement in Norwich.
I know you can be a little anti-French, Chris, apart from the champagne, of course. But there may be some things they can teach us about career development, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. It's true that in England our approach to the problem tends to be a little less dirigiste. But I did tell you that we were going to Dijon to try and learn. That I wanted you to work on a project concerned with career development. To do some skills assessment of certain categories of employees and see what development we can offer them.
Sounds interesting.
Useful too, if ever we did decide to shut down the factory.
Cynical, you see? When do I start, Chris?
I'll send you a memo tomorrow. It looks as if we can board.
Comprehension. Where does Chris buy some champagne to take back to England with him?
He buys some in the shop in the Eurostar lounge at Gare du Nord in Paris.
Does Kate buy something typical of Burgundy?
Yes, she buys a selection of mustard from Dijon.
What did Kate find amazing in Dijon?
She found it amazing how well everybody spoke English.
What reason does Chris give to explain why UC France spends a lot of money on teaching its employees to speak English?
He says that UC France has to do this because the official working language of United Chocolate is English.
Apart from the quality of the English, what else impressed Kate?
Kate was also impressed by the importance they attach to career development. They constantly seek to assess employees' skills and find appropriate professional training solutions adapted to their needs.
According to Chris, what are French companies obliged to do?
Chris says that French companies are obliged to spend a certain percentage of their payroll on professional training, or else the money goes to the government in the form of tax.
Has Chris heard of the management school in Dijon?
Yes, he has. He says that they sometimes take their students on placement in Norwich.
What sort of project does Chris want Kate to work on when they get back to Norwich?
He wants Kate to work on a project concerned with career development.
What does Chris say which makes Kate repeat her remark about his being cynical?
He says that this project will be useful if ever they decide to shut down the factory.
Chapter 12. A low-paid job? Kate is making good progress on the career development and skills assessment project that her boss, Christopher Vincent, asked her to undertake. This morning, she has an appraisal interview with a 22-year-old production worker called Rachel Barker. There's a knock on the door.
Come in.
Good morning. I hope I'm not late.
No, not at all. We said 9:15, didn't we?
I think so, but I wasn't sure. It's nice to see you again, Kate.
I'm sorry, I don't think...
You don't recognise me. We used to go to school together in Cambridge.
Rachel Edwards?
I was then, yes.
Oh, how wonderful! I'm sorry, I didn't recognise you. You've changed.
So have you, Kate, but I still recognised you.
You know, Rachel, I was looking at the questionnaire you filled in, and I was wondering...
How come I'm doing such a boring, low-paid job?
Well, I mean, you do have 3 good A-levels. You could have...
Gone to university. That was the idea to begin with, of course. But then I met James, who worked in Norwich, and we got married and had our first child.
And you don't have any regrets?
Not at all. I have a super husband, 2 beautiful kids. At first, I was going to stay at home and bring up the children, but we just couldn't make ends meet with the mortgage and everything, so I came to work here.
And do you enjoy it?
Absolutely. Don't get me wrong, Kate. There's a fantastic atmosphere here. I don't like Christopher Vincent too much, but I don't have much to do with him.
But couldn't you have found a better job with your qualifications?
What qualifications? You have qualifications, I'm sure, Kate, but I don't. And anyway, we had to stay in Norwich. It's a great place to live, but apart from Norfolk chocolate and Coleman's mustard, there's precious little work going.
You said something just now, Rachel, about doing a boring, low-paid job. I'm sure it must be boring after a while. I did it myself for a couple of weeks. So you think you're not paid enough?
You must know how much we earn, surely.
Yes, I do. A lot of your colleagues have mentioned the problem too.
So there you are.
We really ought to get together for dinner sometime.
I'd love to. You must come round to my place. Meet the family.
Great. Anyway, I'm still going to have to ask you a few questions. For the assessment interview as planned.
Fire away, Kate.
Comprehension. Why does Kate have an appointment with Rachel Barker this morning?
Kate has asked Rachel Barker to come and see her for an assessment interview as part of the Career Development and Skills Assessment project that Christopher Vincent asked her to undertake.
Why does Rachel recognise Kate?
Rachel recognises Kate because they used to go to school together in Cambridge.
Why do you think Kate fails to recognise Rachel?
Kate says that she didn't recognise Rachel because she's changed, but she probably didn't expect to meet her in the factory.
Why do you think Kate is surprised to discover that Rachel is a factory worker for Norfolk Chocolate?
Kate is surprised because Rachel was at school with her and she got 3 good A-levels.
Explain why Rachel did not go to university as Kate did.
Rachel intended to go to university originally, but she met James, her husband. They got married and had their first child.
Does Rachel have any regrets about not going to university?
No, Rachel says she has no regrets at all.
Why was it difficult for Rachel to find what Kate calls a better job?
According to Rachel, it was difficult for her to find a better job because she had no qualifications like Kate. She also says that she and her husband, had to stay in Norwich where there's not much work available.
According to Rachel, what seems to be the main drawback about working in the Norfolk Chocolate factory?
For Rachel, the main drawback seems to be the low pay.
Before the assessment interview actually begins, what do Kate and Rachel decide to do?
Before beginning the assessment interview, the 2 girls decide to get together sometime for dinner, probably at Rachel's house.
Chapter 13. Supporting the local community. It's mid-November. Christopher Vincent has asked Kate to come and see him to talk about the project on career development and skills assessment she is working on. The final report has to be handed in by December the 1st at the latest.
So tell me, Kate, how's the project coming along?
Well, as I've already told you, we finished the interviews about 10 days ago and have now analysed all the data.
We?
Me and Maria.
Ah, yes, Maria. So she's been useful on the project.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not sure I could have managed without her.
Good. I thought from the beginning that she had a lot of potential. And what about the report? You remember it's due on December 1st.
No problem. You'll have it by the end of next week. Ahead of schedule, in fact.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to reading it, particularly your recommendations, of course.
I've tried to keep you regularly informed of the findings.
Yes, thank you. And they've been very interesting so far. Tell me, Kate, now that you've spoken to all the production workers under 55, are there any areas of dissatisfaction which emerge during your conversations?
You mean about career development?
No, I meant more generally. I don't know.
Quite a few people, particularly the younger workers, felt they weren't paid enough.
The usual gripe. Personally, I don't think they should complain. People in Romania would work for 1/10 of what we pay them.
What's Romania got to do with it, Chris?
Nothing, it's just an example, isn't it? If one day we had to relocate,
That's another area of concern. Not relocation, but the closure of the factory here in Norwich. You've already reassured me about that, but the workers still see it as a threat.
well, they shouldn't, should they? Anyway, let's return to what we were talking about. The project is almost finished, Kate. You've done well. But if I understand correctly, you'll soon be in need of something new to work on.
I suppose I will be, yes.
Well, you don't need to worry, Kate, because I have another project for you. You know that next year will be the 50th anniversary of Norfolk Chocolate?
Oh, absolutely. During the interviews, a lot of people mentioned it. They seem very excited about it.
I'm sure they are. Walter Adams, the founder of Norfolk Chocolate, has always considered it essential to support the local community. I suppose today people would talk about corporate social responsibility, but Walter was already doing it before it became fashionable.
And what would my role be?
We're planning a whole weekend of celebrations here in May, and your job would be to organise the event.
That sounds very interesting, but isn't it more of a marketing project?
To a certain extent, yes. But it's a human resources project too. I've just mentioned CSR. Basically, it's all about communication, both external and internal.
And won't headquarters in Bristol want to be involved too?
They certainly will, and you'll have to liaise with them. But I'll let Bill Hayward explain all that to you.
Comprehension. Should Kate already have finished her report on career development and skills assessment?
No, she has until December the 1st, and this meeting takes place in mid-November.
Has Kate been working on the project by herself?
No, she hasn't. She's been working with Maria, the current trainee from Spain.
Does Chris have any idea about the findings of Kate's research?
Yes, he does. Kate's been keeping him regularly informed.
Name the 2 areas of dissatisfaction which Kate says have emerged during her interviews with workers.
The 2 areas of dissatisfaction that Kate refers to are insufficient pay and fear that the factory will be closed down.
How does Chris react when Kate tells him that quite a few people consider that they aren't paid enough at Norfolk Chocolate?
Chris reacts a little aggressively and says that people in Romania would work for 1/10 of what they earn at Norfolk Chocolate.
Why is Norfolk Chocolate planning a whole weekend of celebrations in May?
Norfolk Chocolate is planning to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the founding of the company.
According to Kate, how do a lot of the production workers feel about the idea of these celebrations?
She says that a lot of the production workers mentioned the celebrations during the interviews and that they seem very excited about them.
How does Chris justify his suggestion that Walter Adams was perhaps ahead of his time as far as corporate social responsibility is concerned?
He says that Walter Adams considered it essential to support the local community before it became fashionable and people started talking about corporate social responsibility.
Will Kate have to work on this new project by herself?
No, not really, because she will have to liaise with headquarters in Bristol.
Chapter 14. Assessing Kate. It is mid-January, and Kate has now officially completed her 6-month training period as a junior manager. She has been invited to United Chocolate's UK headquarters in Bristol for an assessment interview with Alexander Spencer-Jones, Director of Human Resources.
So, good morning, Kate. It's good to see you in Bristol again. Please take a seat. I should think you're better than I am at conducting assessment interviews. I see that you did more than 60 at Norfolk Chocolate this autumn.
Yes, 67 to be precise. But they were only skills assessment interviews with the production workers.
Maybe, but they were just as important for the firm as what I'll be doing this week with the junior managers. I've read your report, and I'm very impressed with the quality of your work. Congratulations, Kate.
Thank you.
And did the project you worked on give you a good taste of human resource management?
Absolutely. I was dealing with issues like skills, qualifications, career development, and I was often exposed to the workers' concerns about pay, prospects, etc.
But that's not all you did.
Oh no, I was involved in a few recruitments, including student placements. I acted as the editor of the local company newsletter.
In fact, you were kept very busy. Chris tells me that he's put you in charge of organising the 50th anniversary celebrations. Was it you who asked to move more into marketing?
Well, no. And Christopher actually told me that he saw it as a human resources project too, because of the CSR dimension.
I think perhaps Chris is being a little ambitious, considering the celebrations as corporate social responsibility. But still. And you are happy to move away from pure human resources management towards what I personally consider more as marketing, or communication at least.
Certainly. I very much enjoyed working in human resources, but I'm not sure I would choose that area for my career. Mr. Hayward has tried to give me an insight into marketing and finance, but it's not easy, given that Norfolk Chocolate is very much a production unit.
Yes, that's true. This 50th anniversary project is a marvellous opportunity for you. We've built a whole marketing plan for Norfolk Nuggets around the event.
Fiona Richards has already told me a lot.
I know you've been working with Fiona. She's a great marketer with a wealth of experience and a wonderful person. If anybody can teach you about communication, it's definitely Fiona.
She's been very helpful so far. I'm really looking forward to meeting her later today. And I'm staying in Bristol till the end of the week to work with her.
Fantastic. Perhaps the three of us can get together for lunch one day.
I'd love to.
Can I assume that you're happy to stay in Norwich till the summer?
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to handling all the financial aspects of the anniversary celebrations too. By the way, I've been thinking about doing an MBA.
Ah.
Comprehension. Why has Kate been invited to Bristol?
Kate has been invited to United Chocolate's UK headquarters for an assessment interview, as she has now completed her 6-month training period as a junior manager.
What does Alexander have to say about the work that Kate has done on skills assessment?
He says that he has read her report and is very impressed with the quality of her work.
Apart from this project, what other activities in the area of human resources has Kate been involved in?
Kate has been involved in a few recruitments, including student placements, and acted as the editor of the local company newsletter.
Does Alexander consider that Norfolk Chocolate's 50th anniversary celebrations have a CSR dimension?
Probably not. He says that Chris Vincent is being a little ambitious, considering the celebrations as CSR.
Why has it been difficult for Kate to gain experience of marketing and finance?
Because she works at Norfolk Chocolate, a subsidiary of United Chocolate, which is very much a production unit. In other words, the marketing and finance activities are handled mainly by headquarters in Bristol.
Why do you think Alexander says that the 50th anniversary project is a wonderful opportunity for Kate?
He thinks that the 50th anniversary project is a good opportunity for Kate, because Kate will get the chance to work in marketing. A whole marketing plan for Norfolk Nuggets has been built around the event.
What opinions does Alexander have of Fiona Richards?
He has a very good opinion of Fiona. He says she's a great marketer with a wealth of experience and a wonderful person.
How long do you think Kate will be staying in Bristol?
We can assume that Kate will stay in Bristol until the end of the week, because she's going to work with Fiona.
What does Alexander suggest they do while Kate is in Bristol?
Alexander suggests that the three of them, Kate, Fiona and himself, get together for lunch one day.
Chapter 15. 50th Anniversary Celebrations. It's mid-April. Kate has just got back home after another long day at work. Plans for the 50th anniversary celebrations have gone very well and are now nearing completion. She's pouring herself a glass of white wine when the phone rings.
Hello, Kate Hewitt speaking.
Hi, Kate, it's Molly.
Ah, Molly! How wonderful to hear from you. It seems ages since we last spoke.
It is, Kate, it is. So how are you anyway?
Oh, I'm busy. Just got home, in fact. But I'm fine, really fine.
So when are you going to come up and see me in Leeds then? There are some great clubs, you know.
I'm sure there are, Molly, and I'm sure you've tested them all. But I really can't get away from Norwich before the 50th anniversary celebrations in May.
God, you'll be glad when they're over, won't you?
Well, yes and no. It's true they're giving me a lot of work, but at the same time, it's great organising everything.
And you're the only person working on them.
In Norwich, yes, but I report to someone down in Bristol who gives me constant advice and support.
Who's that then?
Fiona Richards from marketing. Do you know her?
No, I don't.
She's a great person to work with, very experienced. And Alexander Spencer Jones thinks very highly of her.
What? You mean they're...
It wouldn't surprise me. I had lunch with them when I first started working on the project, and I can tell you they get on very well together.
Well, good for them.
Hey, listen, Molly, why don't you come down to Norwich for the celebrations? I can get you a free ticket for the grand charity concert on the Saturday evening.
Surely if it's a charity concert, you shouldn't be giving away free tickets, Kate.
Maybe not, Molly, but you can sponsor me for my charity run on the Friday afternoon.
But I'd never be able to come down on the Friday. I've got too much work on my plate.
You wouldn't need to be there. You just go on our website, www.nnuggets.co.uk, click on 50th anniversary celebrations, and you'll find everything you always wanted to know about the event, including how to sponsor me.
Remind me again of the dates. I'm going to check my diary.
It's Friday the 16th and Saturday the 17th of May. I'll put you up, of course.
OK, Kate, you're on. For the Saturday at least. I'm looking forward to it.
So am I. It's going to be a lot of fun. And after the concert on Saturday evening, United Chocolate is organising a big party for everyone involved. And I'll invite you to that, of course.
Sounds great. OK, Kate, I'll let you get on with your dinner. I'm going to take a look at your website. Speak to you soon. Bye.
Bye, Molly. Bye.
Comprehension. Where is Kate when the phone rings?
Kate is at home. She has just got back home from work.
Do you think that Kate is pleased to receive a phone call after a long day at work?
She's pleased to receive a phone call from Molly at last. She says, "How wonderful to hear from you."
What does Molly mention to try and convince Kate she should go and visit her in Leeds?
Molly says that there are some great clubs in Leeds.
Will Kate be glad when the 50th anniversary celebrations are finished?
Yes and no. She says that they're giving her a lot of work, but at the same time, she enjoys organising them.
Does Kate have sole responsibility for the organisation of the celebrations?
No, she doesn't. She reports to Fiona Richards in Bristol, who gives her constant advice and support.
If Molly comes to Norwich for the celebrations, what does Kate promise to do for her?
Kate says that she can get Molly a free ticket for the grand charity concert on the Saturday evening.
What contribution can Molly make towards Norfolk Chocolate's charity efforts?
Kate says she can sponsor her for her charity run on the Friday afternoon.
What will Molly have to do to sponsor Kate?
Kate says she just has to go on the website www.nnuggets.co.uk and click on 50th anniversary celebrations, and she'll find the necessary instructions.
Does Molly agree to come down for the 50th anniversary celebrations?
She agrees to come down for the Saturday at least.
What will happen after the Saturday evening charity concert?
After the concert on Saturday evening, United Chocolate is organising a big party for everyone involved.
Chapter 16. Studying in the USA. Mid-September already, and it's been almost a month since Kate began her part-time MBA program in Austin, Texas. She's having lunch in the university restaurant when a male student whom she's already seen in class approaches her table.
Hi there. Mind if I join you?
Not at all. Please go ahead.
Thank you. You know, your accent is really awesome.
Awesome. I think you could use a lot of words to describe it, but awesome?
Well, I guess we use that word a lot. You must be English?
That's right. And I sometimes feel I'm speaking a foreign language here in Texas.
Your name's Kate, isn't it? I've seen you in class.
Right again. I've seen you in class too, but I don't remember your name.
Sorry, Kate. My name's Carlos. Carlos Garcia.
Pleased to meet you, Carlos. And you must be Mexican, I suppose. You often refer to Mexico in class.
Yes, I am. But I also have American nationality. I was born in San Antonio and did all my studies there, until I came to Austin for my MBA, of course. San Antonio is not far from here, less than 100 miles south on I-35.
Oh, yes. I know San Antonio.
You know San Antonio?
The company I work for, United Chocolate, has a production plant down there. When I'm not studying here in Austin, I'm working down in San Antonio.
You work for United Chocolate? Now, isn't that just amazing? Both my parents work for UC. My dad is a foreman, and my mom still works on the production line.
Well, it certainly is a small world. I'm hoping to convince UC to let me do my professional project on a new product they're working on. It's aimed at the Hispanic population of the USA, by the way.
What sort of product is that?
You'll appreciate that I can't tell you that.
Fair enough, Kate. I can understand that. How's your chili con carne, by the way?
It's fine. Not very spicy, though.
I hope you don't think that's typical Mexican cuisine.
Well, isn't it?
I don't think many Mexicans would think so. I guess it's more Tex-Mex. We never eat it at home.
I still have so much to learn, Carlos, about Texas, and Mexico, of course.
Hey, you must come and have dinner with my folks. Taste some real Mexican cuisine.
Why not? I'd love to.
We could even drive down to Monterrey, south of the border. It's not that far, and I have loads of family down there too.
Well, I certainly need to practice my Spanish.
¿Tú hablas español?
Sí, pero no hablo desde hace mucho tiempo.
Comprehension. When did Kate start studying in the USA?
We can assume that Kate started studying in the USA in mid-August or late August. It's been almost a month since she began her MBA program in Austin, Texas.
Have Kate and Carlos already met?
Not yet, but Kate has already seen Carlos in class.
What makes Carlos think that Kate must be English?
Carlos thinks Kate must be English because of her accent, which he describes as awesome.
What makes Kate think that Carlos must be Mexican?
She thinks that Carlos must be Mexican because he often refers to Mexico in class.
Before coming to Austin, where did Carlos do all his studies?
Before coming to Austin for his MBA, Carlos did all his studies in San Antonio.
What is Kate's connection with San Antonio?
Kate's only connection with San Antonio is the fact that United Chocolate, the company she works for, has a production plant there.
What does Kate hope to obtain from United Chocolate while she's studying in Texas?
She hopes to convince United Chocolate to let her do her final project on a new product they're working on.
What sort of new product is UC working on for the Latin American market?
We don't know. It's obviously confidential, because Kate says she can't say anything about it.
Is chili con carne a typical Mexican dish according to Carlos?
Carlos doesn't think that many Mexicans would agree. He thinks it's more Tex-Mex and tells Kate that they never eat it at home.
What reason does Kate give for possibly accepting Carlos's suggestion that they drive down to Monterey together?
Kate says that she certainly needs to practice her Spanish.
Chapter 17. Studying the market. In compliance with the curriculum of the university's part-time MBA program, students are required to carry out a professional project for a company. Kate has gone up to Philadelphia, hoping to persuade Russ Kingman, United Chocolate Inc.'s VP, Marketing and Sales, to put her in charge of a market survey for the prospective launch of a new product, a pecan praline bar, aimed at the Hispanic population of the USA. Kate's persuasion seems to have been successful.
Okay, Kate. You'll be in charge of collecting all relevant information to help us make the right decision. Concerning the launching of the pecan praline chocolate bar, we plan to manufacture on a brand new production line in San Antonio.
Wow, it seems my wildest dreams are coming true. This is the most exciting challenge I've taken up so far.
Mind you, Kate, we're aware of the risks we're taking. You may still be a little soft on the edges, and UC is not at all familiar with the Hispanic market. More than others, Hispanic consumers may be full of surprises. Figuring them out may be awfully tough. UC expects you to design a new method for collecting information, to manage and implement the data collection process and analyze the results.
What a program! When would you like me to communicate the findings?
The company has agreed to give you a 3-month deadline. First, you'll have to define the problem and the research objectives. This step is crucial. Don't hesitate to report to me as often as you feel necessary. You'll be your own boss, but you'll need to form a team down in San Antonio to assist you. And obviously, we'll have to work closely together to define the problem and agree on our research objectives.
That makes sense. I'll be seeing my tutor in Austin very regularly too.
Good. Marketing is a matter of common sense anyway. I would also like your team to do a survey of all the existing data, study periodicals, books, and all the commercial data that's to be found in Nielsen's Retail Index. And of course, you'll also have to prepare a questionnaire.
Yes, at the university they taught us how to write a good questionnaire. I'll make sure it's carefully developed and tested before using it on a big scale.
Make the wording as simple, direct, and unbiased as possible, and ask the questions in a logical order.
I think I will contact consumers by phone. It's the best method for collecting information quickly.
Maybe, but you may find it difficult to reach young people who are seldom at home. Make sure you have their cell phone numbers. Besides, the Hispanics live more often out of doors than we Anglos do.
Agreed.
And one more recommendation. Don't give me too many statistics. Just present the major findings. Is that okay?
Yes. There was just one last point I wanted to make. In the words of the immortal David Ogilvy, many managers use research as a drunkard uses a lamppost, not for illumination, but for support. Are you sure you haven't already made up your mind about the launching of the pecan praline bar, whatever the results of the survey?
Hell no. A failure would be too expensive. It would cost me my job, for one.
Not to mention mine.
Comprehension. What is Kate's assignment?
Kate will be in charge of carrying out a market survey for the prospective launch of UC's new product, a pecan praline bar aimed at the Hispanic population.
Why is UC running risks by appointing Kate head of the market research team?
Kate somewhat lacks experience. She still has to show her ability.
What difficulties is the market research team likely to encounter?
UC is not at all familiar with the Hispanic market, which may prove to be full of surprises.
What are the different steps in the market survey?
The different steps are as follows. First, the definition of the problem. Then, a survey of the existing data, field research with a questionnaire, the interpretation of responses, and finally, a presentation of the findings.
Why should Kate and Russ Kingman work closely together?
He wants to make sure Kate will not divert her attention from the research objectives.
According to Russ Kingman, what qualities should marketers value?
According to him, common sense is very important.
What desk research work will Kate have to carry out?
She will have to do a survey of existing data, study periodicals, books, and also Nielsen's Retail Index.
Why is the preparation of a questionnaire a difficult task?
Because a good questionnaire must be carefully developed. The wording of the questions must be simple and clear, and the questions must appear in a logical order.
In what way do Hispanics differ from Anglos?
Hispanics live more often out of doors than Anglos do.